Hello and welcome to this special episode of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast, and also the Signal 11 Outdoors Podcast is here, a co-collaborative special. We want to talk a little. Steve Ciasulo's here from Signal 11 and his podcast. We want to talk about an interesting bill coming forward in New Jersey that has a lot to do with crossbows. And Steve is going to explain it to us.
How's it going, Joe?
What's going on, Steve?
Good, man. Good to be on here with you guys. And I know Deuce is back there somewhere. Deuce, good to hear you again. How you been?
He's back there.
He's back there. He's not answering. He's doing.
He's always back there.
So, Joe and I are talking, and I'll jump right into it. Joe, cut me off anytime because I may just run a little bit with it, but basically, what we're going to talk about is this proposed bill, like Joe said, that's coming up, that has a lot of stuff in it. I actually think it's 380 something pages. I mean, I haven't read a fraction of it yet, but I did read the Crossbow stuff. I started to read some of the trapping stuff. Just a couple things that I really got to go through the whole thing, and hopefully everybody who's watching this does. And I'll start out, Joe, by saying I think at the end we got to guide everybody who doesn't know where to go to comment on this before the comment part of this is over at the state level. They can comment on it. So we'll cover that, and then I guess you guys can throw some links up there and stuff. But basically what it is I'm glad Joe asked me to come on because I've, like so many people, probably like pretty much everybody who's involved in hunting in Jersey in any way, especially into bow hunting, there's been a lot of chatter back and forth and a lot of rumors, which are some of them are really off base and wrong. But, right now they're call it all hearsay and rumors. But people have been calling me like crazy. I'm sure Joe's been hearing it. I know all the bow shops have been hearing it. I know the clubs have been hearing it. I know the top guys at Fish and Game been getting phone calls. Everybody's bouncing around what the hell's going on with this proposal. So I'll jump into it. I think we're going to focus, like I said, on the crossbow section because as a bow hunter and me personally as a crossbow hunter right now, majority crossbow hunter. I do have a stick bow as well, but I want to tackle that and talk about it a little bit, and I want to kind of cover a couple different things. So let me start out by saying the information I have is really no different than what everybody else has. You can read the proposal; it's on the website. It is nothing more than a proposal, but this particular section we're going to talk about, I think I wrote it down. I think it was page 147 of 300 plus pages, touches on a crossbow pretty quickly. But for example, we'll jump right into it. If this proposal were to go through as proposed, basically every crossbow in New Jersey would be illegal. So when I say that, and I'm going to bounce around all over the place, but basically, what does that mean? How do we get here? I think that's my first question. So who did I talk to? I spoke to many clubs in New Jersey. I spoke to other states. I'm sorry. I spoke to New York. I spoke to people from New York that were involved in the New York rules and regs because it was very similar to what New Jersey's doing. And they just changed it. They just changed it back last year because it was a ridiculous set of rules for crossbow. So I talked to store owners in New York. I talked to people involved in the legislation out there. Same thing with New Jersey. I talked to the clubs and people involved in the some of the how-to and how does this get to this point in New Jersey. So what I can't give you anything concrete because nothing happened in front of my eyes or ears, but through the grapevine, and I won't be mentioning really anybody that I spoke to because it's not really fair to them. I did tell them it's kind of just me wanting to gather information, but it looks like there's possibly a couple of reasons why this crossbow section is in here. Now, if you're not into crossbows and you tuned into New Jersey Multi-Species just now and you're like, man, I don't care about crossbows, I think you should pay attention to this because this really affects all hunters. It may not affect you right now with this proposal because maybe you don't have a crossbow, maybe you don't bow hunt at all, maybe you're a gun hunter, maybe you just duck hunt, you don't even deer hunt. I'd pay attention because this is the stuff that's happened in this state. It's happened before and it's going to happen from here on out. If we don't pay attention, we are going to get blindsided. So jumping back into this crossbow section, basically what it looks like is, and I've heard a couple different theories, and they're not really theories, or they're a little more than theories, but this is what I've heard. I've heard that probably the nasty one is that this is coming from the anti-crossbow folks that actually are hunters, like with us. We're all supposed to be on one team. So that's a rumor. It's kind of an ugly rumor, but I got to be honest with you. As I called some of these clubs and spoke to people in the clubs, they did not make me feel like that was a complete rumor by things that they said to me. And it's really quite sad. So that first aspect that I'm talking about is people who are shooting compounds, maybe recurves, but they're really pointing fingers at the compound guys. And that's where this is coming from trying to stop the crossbows for whatever reason. There's a lot of them. That's kind of an ugly picture to paint. But like I said, I talked to a couple clubs recently. Even today, I was talking to clubs. None of them, almost none of them, really dismissed that. Actually, some of them chimed in with some talk with me that actually made my eyes open. I go, man, are you kidding me? Like, do you realize if we let stuff? Yeah, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
So what you're saying is there's actually hunters that are on the other side of this. They hunt with a bow and arrow, or maybe they just shotgun or muzzleloader hunt, and they want the crossbows made illegal.
Yes, well, we know that is a fact in the state of New Jersey. We've all heard it. I mean, anybody who's hunting with a crossbow has heard somebody tell them, "Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. You shouldn't be allowed to use it." So that's my point, is that even though I'm looking at it as an ugly rumor, there's guys right now all over Facebook, all over the New Jersey pages, making comments that to kind of solidify that as a fact, that there's a lot of people that don't want the crossbows in there. Okay, so the second thing we've heard is a safety thing, right? I mean, and when I say what I found out, they talked about a safety thing. There's something going on where, they took out certain crossbows because they're getting faster with technology, and they shot them through a sheet of plywood, and it went, 20 yards past the plywood. Okay. So if that is at all a fact that happened, then that's where this came from. How does that matter if you have an efficient weapon that can get the job done at a safe, with safety as paramount, and effectively take out an animal without lingering anything on longer than it has to be? How is that so terrible? Is it really a safety thing? I mean, if we're bow hunting, we're supposed to be, if we're within 150 feet of a house, we got to be elevated. So when I say that, the safety thing, I believe the pushback number, the 150 and the 450 for the guns, which now we're hearing talk of 600 feet. That may be the reason why this thought of, the crossbows are blowing through plywood and means they could go into a fence or a door, within that distance. That could be that could be a reason why they're attacking the crossbows now, and they are attacking the crossbows. Let's not candy coat it. They are trying to take crossbows out of the equation for hunting in the state of New Jersey. There's no doubt about it, because if that wasn't the case, this would have been a thoughtful proposal, and it's far from thoughtful. Whoever wrote this proposal, they should take a couple of the easy pass lanes, put quarter baskets on them, and let them go work at the quarter baskets collecting the money, because they shouldn't be writing stuff like this, because it's ridiculous. It shows that there's no transparency and there's no communication at the state level, which we all know. I mean, we know that, but this is so blatant that it's a clear attack on the crossbows. So, Joe, those are the two main things.
I want to ask, when you say all crossbows, when I read it, it had a certain amount of inches that I think was 11 inches. I might be guessing, though. And it had the draw weight of over 200 pounds. What is making you say it's all crossbows? Because there's a lot of crossbows that fall within that criteria.
Well, there's not a lot of crossbows that fall within the maximum of 200-pound draw weight. Yeah, not many at all. And to be quite honest with you, if you live in the state of New Jersey and you owned an early crossbow that was less than 200 pounds at the draw, you probably got rid of it already, and you probably went and spent $1,500, $2,000, or $3,000 at the local small business in New Jersey, which is going to get smacked by this ruling if New Jersey goes through with it. It's not only
hunters. I mean,
I'm sure you do.
I mean, I fall on a weird line with this because I love my bow and arrow, but I got way too sick of people saying, "Oh, I got such a nice deer with the crossbow, crossbow, crossbow." I got sick of it, and I've been caught drawing my bow back. You don't have to do that with the crossbow. You can just lay it on the rail and shoot. One of the first bucks I ever had come in my life, a 6-pointer. I tried to hold the bow back for too long, and the arrow fell off and hit the deer in the back. And so eventually I did give in, and I said, "Listen, if everyone else is going to use a crossbow, I'm going to use one too." Because I want to get deer and I want to effectively get deer. But I can say definitely, I mean, when I first started hunting and you were only allowed a bow and arrow, there was a lot less hunters in the woods, number one, and there was a lot more deer. I think when they put the crossbows on the table, it brought a lot of gun hunters that have never bow hunted, and now they could go from hunting only 6 days a year to using the crossbow 4 months a year. And also, it has unlimited does on the license, so it almost becomes like, well, now I did spend the $1,200. I want to use my crossbow because it's fun. But then there's that other side that, holy shit, I mean, I don't know. It's very strange because New Jersey hunting regulations are never like geared towards conservation. They're geared towards eradication. Like they want the deer eradicated. Hunters want more deer. We don't want them eradicated. But yeah, I mean, where do you actually fall on this?
I think, Joe, you just made a great example because, if you are, number one, crossbows, compound bows, guns, obviously, and traditional archery are all very different. We all agree with that. They are all very different. The ability to use a crossbow and learn how to use a crossbow effectively is a lot easier than a compound bow. And a compound bow is a lot easier than a traditional bow, a lot. And vice versa, the wound rates, because there's lots of data out there, the wound rates go almost completely the opposite. The wound rate for a traditional archer is much higher than a compound and a crossbow user. So what does that mean? That those things I don't even want to get into, but those are facts that are out there. I personally am a believer in whatever gets you in the woods to hunt is what you should be able to use. So you made a good point. You got to practice a lot with a compound, no doubt about it. You might have to practice twice or 3 times as much with a traditional. With the crossbow, you can practice a lot less, and you can still be effective. So if they do this, if they basically are ban all their crossbows, I hate to say it like that because everybody's going to say, we never said we're banning crossbows. They're trying to ban crossbows. If you're going with a 200-pound draw, the other numbers aren't real important. The length of the stock is not real important unless you're handicapped. I'm technically handicapped. I struggle with a 25-inch or longer. It's not a length of pull. It's the end of the rail to the stock. I look for crossbows that are in the 22 range. Okay, so that's kind of minor, but whoever wrote this I could lift my arm that much. The guy that wrote this, he could do jumping jacks. I can't. So if the people who are disabled have no problem getting a disabled tag or permit, will they be able to have a crossbow that is not legal according to New Jersey? The answer is no. So now you are going against all ADA by doing this because unless you're going to find an old crossbow somewhere that's under 200 pounds, you're basically banning crossbows. Because even mine, which shoots, I have one sitting right next to me, shoots 308 feet a second. That's considered a dinosaur by crossbow standards of today. That's like a 254-pound draw, not even close to 200 pounds.
Yeah, see, I don't really know the draw weights of my of crossbows. Because you just crank it back. I crank mine back with one finger. It's easier so I don't actually know. Never knew the draw weights. I thought most of them would be under the 200 number, but obviously you're telling me I'm wrong. Yeah. But yeah, so now I see that. I think mine's whatever the top of Hoyt is. No, 10 point. It's a 10-point Viper. I don't know what the draw weight is, but I'm sure it's way over 200. It shoots 415, I think. But yeah, like you said, as that draw weight comes down, so does the killing efficiency of it.
Sure. Yeah, and like you just said, I bet you can go back. You can go in your garage for 20 minutes and come back. Me and Deuce will talk about something else. And when you come back, you still won't know what your draw weight is, because the manufacturers have basically dismissed the draw weights, because just with a cocking rope, which is a simple tool, mechanical advantage, your draw effort is about half, let's just say, right? And if you have a crank, you're cranking, your draw effort might be 14 or 15 pounds cranking. Well, according to the law that Jersey's proposing, the cranks are allowed, but that has nothing to do with the draw weight. The draw weight is completely different. And most people have no idea, because the manufacturers pretty much stopped putting them on. I've been into crossbows since around 2008. So I kind of know what the draw weights are and the recurve crossbows versus the compounds. But basically everything that people own, and almost everything, I would venture to say that I probably would not be able to find a single store in the state of New Jersey that has a crossbow for sale that is under 200 pounds. So what does that mean for the small business? Everything the small business has in stock, which is probably thousands and thousands of dollars of crossbows, they're junk. They're worthless. You can't sell them in New Jersey. You could sell them. They haven't thrown a possession thing in there like they did with the deer lure, which is ridiculous. You can't possess deer lure. You can't use it, and you can't even possess it. Imagine if they put possession on a crossbows. I mean, that might be next. So now, what does Garden State Bow and Reel do? And I'm using him as an example because he's right up the street from me. What do they do? They got to get rid. They got to get rid of everything.
I've actually heard rumors of possible firearms ID cards coming into play to purchase a crossbow. But like you said, it's all rumors. But I do want to bring up a point on the crank, because I know there's people that talk about the crank too. They want the crank illegal. Like my daughter, for example, she's 10 years old. She could now legally take the hunting test, which she's gunning in Jersey, and she weighs 70 pounds. I mean, there's probably not a crossbow for sale in the state that she could pull back. And to take the hunter education course, I'm not allowed to help her. She has to cock the crossbow herself. So, luckily I have one with a crank. But if I didn't have a crank, I don't see any way of the kid being able to pass the test with a crossbow. They'd have to use a small compound.
And it is very likely that your crossbow with the crank is illegal, according to New Jersey's proposed. It's not passed yet. Proposed changes, because it's almost a guarantee, unless it's very old, that you have anything that has a draw weight of under 200 pounds. The other stuff like the bolt length, the stock length, I didn't see anything in there for width, but there might be something in there for width. All of that, I understand that they don't want. There are a lot of almost toys out there that are definitely not toys. I mean, and nobody's hunting with them. And the majority of the reason why nobody's hunting with them is because of the minimum broadhead size that we have for bow hunting. So we kind of have that already curtailed. But what they're doing with the crossbows is crazy. Now, everybody who owns them and paid New Jersey sales tax for them, maybe even this year or last year or last 3 years, you bought something, now it's illegal, now you can't use it, now you got to get rid of it, or do you hang on to it, hoping that New Jersey comes to sees the light like New York? Now, why would New Jersey do what New York just got rid of? New York had 200-pound limit, and if you talk to the stores in New York, which I did, they said, man, the sales already, the sales increased tremendously. So the small businesses see revenue. They're looking to have deer shot. I think in archery in New Jersey, and I could be wrong, I believe the majority of the deer that get harvested in New Jersey are with a crossbow. New Jersey doesn't want less deer killed. They're pushing for a 7th buck tag. When I have people on my podcast from Iowa or wherever, pretty much anywhere in the United States, and I tell them New Jersey has 6 buck tags, you have the potential of buying 6 buck tags, and they're thinking of 7. When the guys get back up on camera because they fell off their chair, they're like, well, how is that management?
Which weapon do they want to add? Which weapon do they want to add a buck tag to?
I just read it. I think it's a page or two above 147, and I think it becomes like a guessing it's a gun tag or an extra tag, but it's a 7th buck tag. I mean, we had 7 bucks at one time. Now we're at 6. I mean, my opinion is, I don't know why we need 6, but I'm not making the rules. I just don't. I would never tell people not to shoot them. Yeah.
Always,
well, then why get rid of an effective weapon that most people already like crossbows already own? You're getting rid of them. A lot of these guys might not buy an all-around sportsman.
The license sales would definitely go down. I wanted to ask you, because you did mention New York. I know New York has been all over the place with these crossbow laws changing yearly for the past couple of years. I mean, they were illegal, then they had their own season. Where does it currently stand in New York? Can you use a crossbow during the archery season, or is it the last 2 weeks, or is it only in the gun season? What is it? Do you know?
I don't know exactly where it falls as to when you can use it in New York. I know they lifted the 200-pound maximum. The draw had to be under 200 pounds. I know that was lifted.
And they had an inch restriction, too, on the width. Like I know my crossbow is illegal in New York.
Yeah. I mean, and with all that stuff, right? Okay, whatever the thought process is, be transparent. I think the state is at a point because like the whole CWD thing that I'm involved in, obviously New Jersey does things that they think are proactive. I may not agree with them, but other states all over the country are dropping the CWD regulations and stuff they had, or I should say the rules that they had to try to make sure that it didn't spread or get into their out of the certain zones. But New Jersey is kind of doing the opposite. They're going the opposite with the crossbow thing now. Who knows what's next? Is baiting next? I mean, it seems like they follow behind and it's not really based on conservation. Why is baiting allowed, but deer urine isn't? Deer urine gets tested at a farm before it gets bottled and sent out to the dealer, okay? The state of New Jersey knows what I just said because they interviewed the same biochemist that Steve interviewed, and he told me exactly what they told New Jersey on a Zoom call, and New Jersey went and did the opposite. They went, well, wait a minute. If the deer urine could be tested and that means it's safe, hell, we'll just ban it. Like, where does that make sense? That's New Jersey. How does New Jersey go, oh, you could shoot cubs, shoot every cub that you see in the beginning of the bear hunt, shoot them all. Sit right on the ground. You can't be in a blind. You can't be hidden. You could be 4 feet from your bait pile if you want and shoot the bear. Any bear, no matter how small it is. Now, you're 100 yards away from any bait, right? So now you're 100 yards away, and now you got to be able to identify a 70-pound bear. I mean, most people see a 70-pound bear, they go on the Ring camera and they tell their neighbors, 400-pound bear in the neighborhood, right? It's just... I know why, because they got certain antis saying, well, if you're going to let them shoot bears, let's make them be away from bait. Well, if you're over bait trying to shoot a bear and you're elevated or at a site, now you can wait for the right shot. You can also identify the bear better, and you can put a nice ethical shot on the bear. Now, I mean, New Jersey's backwards. Crossbows, the same thing. I just gave you 2 examples. If this crossbow thing goes through, it's the same thing. And for all of the compound guys who are like, I kind of hope it goes through. I have more backyards to hunt. Well, guess what? You're going to lose that because they're going to push for the 600-foot next, and then they're going to go after the baiting. And some guys are like, great, get rid of baiting and trail camera. Well, what if Joe Santiago works 5 days a week, takes his kids to sports, and he has like maybe a Saturday afternoon to hunt? He'd like to throw a little corn out, shoot a deer, put it in his freezer. Now you can't do it because you can't bait. You can't be behind your house. You can't have a crossbow that is 204 pounds draw. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. It all comes down to eliminating everything in the long run. There's no conservation here.
You do have a point, too, that New Jersey has like a weird track record of copying what New York does. And New York, when it comes to hunting, I mean, fishing, you might be able to compare them, but the hunting New York and hunting New Jersey is like universes apart. It's nothing like even close to each other. But it does seem like the New Jersey lawmakers just follow what New York does in one way or another and never have their own ideas.
Well, you may be right. I don't know. I think there's a lot of good people involved. I really do. I don't know how many hardcore bow hunters are on the game council. I would probably say 0. But The problem is if they were doing that, Joe, if they were really paying attention to what is current, if they were communicating with the state right next to us, we have Pennsylvania and New York touching us. If they communicated, the New York guys would have told the Jersey guys, hey, you know what? You might want to leave that off because we just switched it. So when some people hunt and across the road from where they're hunting or halfway across their farm is New York, they can now they could, maybe they'll buy all our crossbows because New Jerseyans can't have them anymore. So New York just changed it, and New Jersey went and did exactly what New York just came to their senses about. Yeah. So I agree with you that they follow. I just don't really get where a group gets together called the New Jersey Game Council and how they even put this proposal out. At least think it through. Be transparent. You know you're going to have an uproar. Now, the goal here is we got to make sure it doesn't pass. Obviously, a lot of hunters didn't get out and vote. That's pretty typical. It's very unfortunate. I just hope that the bow hunters that do not shoot a crossbow we don't want to divide and conquer the bow hunting team or the hunting team. If you are a guy that just does deer drives and that's all you do with the shotgun, I say, God bless you. Enjoy yourself. I wish I had the legs to do it with you, but I don't. But we can't belittle people. We see it all the time in the comments underneath the stuff that you have or any Facebook page. We can't get divided and conquered. We have to stick together because today it's the crossbows are going after. Tomorrow it's the compounds because they're at an advantage over stick bows. And then what happens once we're not killing enough deer? Then what? Then the state says, we don't need bow hunters. We'll take care of it with sharpshooters, chemicals, and whatever other stupid plan they have. And we know hunting is the only thing that works effectively and cost effectively.
And our car insurance goes up more.
Yeah,
I want to point out, though, the bait, when you, I know a lot of states you can't bait, and there's a lot of hunters that look down on people that do bait. I bait. I don't care. Like you said, I don't have time, but I do like to bait. I think it's more exciting to hunt over bait. But if you make bait illegal, you wouldn't think so, but that tremendously hits the stores as well, and the farmers, because you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in cattle corn that gets bought up by hunters that are being sold by stores like Simon Peter. Most archery or hunting shops are going to have some kind of corn, all kinds of deer bait, and you actually own a local New Jersey grown business that sells deer attractants that would probably be included in some of those bannings. So it would trickle down to actually hurt a lot of people economically by cutting the baiting.
Huge effect on small businesses. Yes. Our neighbors, not very far from me in Pennsylvania, 2 years ago proposed a ban on all attractants of deer. Not only because I'm not sure what the baiting is in PA. I know you can't bait during the season, but I'm not sure if they can use minerals or some bait prior, like 30 days prior.
I know PA has more lenient laws than New York does, but I don't know them enough to talk about it.
Well, just a year or two ago, they proposed to get rid of this is Pennsylvania I'm talking about. They proposed to get rid of anything that would congregate deer. So they were looking to get rid of natural deer urine. They were looking to get rid of synthetic deer urine, which is synthetic and man-made and could never, ever pose a risk with CWD. Tested deer urine that's natural from a legitimate farm through the Responsible Hunter program they have. That is tested deer urine. That can't pass on CWD because it's already been tested for prions. And Pennsylvania was also looking to get rid of any kind of non-food scents, like a corn scent or whatever. And you hear the guy that says, "Oh, my grandfather, he used Old Spice and killed deer all the time and smoked cigarettes." Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that once they realized it was congregating deer, you can't use Old Spice anymore? PA tried to pass a big encompassing ruling. It didn't go through. Hunter Nation got involved. Ted Nugent got involved. They got everybody out on the day. They got all the comments in before the proposed date. But Pennsylvania was doing it. If Pennsylvania got it or New York got it, New Jersey will follow suit, just like you said, because it doesn't seem like they're not on the cutting edge of anything. I mean, the only thing we're on the cutting edge is $7. I mean, if you think $7 is on the cutting edge of conservation, there might be something wrong with you allowing 7 buck tags.
Has there actually been a confirmed case of CWD in the state of New Jersey yet?
I have read one thing, but when I actually couldn't find it again, so I don't even know if it was legitimate. I don't think there was a confirmed case. CWD is a whole nother, CWD is a whole nother podcast, and it's a whole nother.
Yeah.
CWD and EHD, if you don't know the difference, you should really at least learn what the difference is, because one of them really affects us and one of them doesn't.
EHD we have. I mean, I've seen that. But I, to my knowledge, CWD has not had a confirmed case in Jersey, but New York has, which caused New York to pass all kinds of new laws about New York hunting, which now when you go to hunt in New York, the deer has to get deboned and all kinds of shit before you even bring it back to New Jersey. So New York's doing everything they can to try to put a stop to it now that it entered their state. But yeah, I think you're right. That's a whole nother podcast episode.
But for those of you that are like me, and Joe, you might be like me. I have all my compendiums. I mean, our compendiums are our Bible, right? We have them in the shitter, we have them in the pickup truck, we have them at our job site. I got a spare one in like my wife's car in case my phone doesn't work and I can't read. I'll call my wife. Look up the zone. There are the compendiums really, as a hunter and a fisherman, they have to be like your Bible, right? That's what we go by. And there's, and everybody battles to see who could find the mistake when they first come out, because there's mistakes in all of them. But the funny thing is, I don't want to get into CWD right now, but if you guys have me on again, I will. Go through the last couple compendiums. I don't care how many. New Jersey. Look at the big color pictures. It's always a 2-page spread. And then there's something else. CWD. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. Guess what? CWD all over the country has never diminished the deer herd, ever. CWD in a lot of states that pushed it hard. A couple states are now dropping the regulations. So things are changing. No human ever contracted CWD. Nobody's ever died of it. We've eaten who knows how many deer since the beginning of time that possibly had CWD. Never affected anybody. They say you lose your hair, which I did, but I don't know if that's from the CWD. But we'll cover that another day. But just look at the New Jersey compendiums and wonder why these double 2-page spreads of CWD are in the last 7 years. They're getting ready for something else. The deer urine was the first one. And Joe, not to ramble, but I am rambling. You talked about the effect of the small business. So real quick. The deer urine thing affected the small business. The state of New Jersey talked about it, proposed, got kickback, pushback. They finally did it. When they finally did it and put it out there, all the stores had already purchased their stock for the year because they buy them at the ATA show and the trade shows. The stock was in the stores. The state of New Jersey made it illegal to sell it, possess it, or use it, okay? Think about it, possession. A possession charge for a bottle of deer urine is ridiculous, but that's what they passed. So what happened to the small businesses? Well, all the small businesses, I noticed, because I'm the biggest supplier of deer lure in the state of New Jersey. So I know exactly what happened, because they all called me. Oh my God, what do we do? Well, luckily they sent it all back and they had nothing on their shelves. So they had Signal 11 on the shelves because I had already been making it for years and it successfully worked. Thank goodness. It was great for me, but I honestly think it was a terrible thing for New Jersey to do. So how does it hurt the small business? They still could sell Steve stuff, right? Well, I'm not in every store, and I wasn't in as many back then. I couldn't even get it to all the stores. So what happens is people would drive, if they had a cabin in PA, they would drive up to PA. They'd buy their stuff that they wanted there, their scent, and then before they leave, oh man, look at that bow. Let me buy a new crossbow, or let me buy a new compound. I spent $2,000. Well, the local stores felt it because they were losing. Believe it or not, that stupid $11 bottle made a difference, because people who don't want to hunt in New Jersey because they have property in Ohio or New York or Pennsylvania, they say, well, I'll just buy all my shit up there. I'll get everything I need. And you know how it is. We walk in, we end up dropping quite a bit of money. So it really did hurt the New Jersey stores. The Crossbow thing is 100 times more devastating than the $11 bottle of deer lure to these stores. It's really going to hurt them.
So, I mean, where then? I mean, where does everyone have to go to? You said you were going to talk about the links. Where does everyone have to go to fight this? And how do we fight?
So I think the open comment is open. I don't know. I'm thinking it's next week. It might be the 28th but what I would say is go to United Bow Hunters in New Jersey. They have the link right on their Facebook page. I didn't see it on their website, but I was talking to one of the guys from their club and they said it was on the website, but it's definitely on the Facebook. And it gives you a link where you can simply go right to the Division of Fish and Game website. You can write your comments, how you feel about it, and it'll go right out to them. And then I know there's a public hearing down at the War Memorial. I'd love to go. I don't even know if it's big enough to hold everybody. I think they're going to get hit pretty hard with the crowd. But I would say to people, in my opinion, I didn't even get into trapping, which I won't even get into it because I don't know a whole lot about trapping. I don't do a lot of trapping, but from the trapping people I do know, talk to them, they said what's in there is pretty bad. Trapping has been devastated over time, and with the fact that the pelts aren't worth anything, and so the trapping thing, that's a really solid history in the state of New Jersey. You don't want to see that get hurt. I didn't even read the trapping section yet, but because this proposal is not really good, it wasn't written well. Obviously, there's mistakes in it, or if it's not mistakes, then it's a total attempt at banning crossbows. I think it should be voted down. The one that's in place, I believe, is good for another year. I think it goes to 28. They should rewrite it. They should get more input, which you can do by going to this, put your input in at the state level on the email, and then the game council can come up with a really good plan. Because unless you have a problem with crossbows that I don't know about, where a 400-foot crossbow or a 450 feet a second crossbow is creating a problem that New Jersey doesn't like. And when I say that, if more deer are getting shot, that's what New Jersey likes, I believe. If they don't want more deer shot, then just change the tags. But don't attack the weapon. The weapon doesn't do anything. I got two of them sitting right there. They haven't said a word yet because they can't talk. It's me that I'm the one that does something wrong with them, right? So I'm the one that they should look at if something happens. Look at the hunter, look at the situation. Don't ban these things. I mean, like you said, the kids get into hunting today, they might shoot their first deer. My son's first buck is on the wall from a crossbow. His second buck was with a compound bow. Now he's shooting trad. He's 22 years old, and he may never shoot a crossbow again until, God forbid, his shoulders can't handle it. That's his prerogative.
This will be my last question before Deuce kills me. But
yeah, sorry, Deuce.
How would you feel if the crossbow was actually put into its own season and not part of the bow season anymore? Or maybe some of it overlapped with the bow season?
And that's been done in some states. And New Jersey, it's funny you say that because I looked back, and I think it was the 08-09 year. It's online. Anybody can look at it. I looked at what Fish and Game had in their compendium, the Bible in your shitter. And they were bragging about how the crossbows were going to help because now people could effectively shoot deer a little with I forgot exactly how it's worded, so I don't want to try to be verbatim, but there's a whole color article. It's like the CWD articles today, but back then, nice color article, multicolor. You read it. They're trying to sell the crossbows to the people. A lot of people embrace them. Some people hate them, and that's okay. And now it's the opposite. Now they want to make it an ineffective weapon that you have to search high and low to even find one that is made by a manufacturer. So how would I feel about it? Me personally, I got to be honest with you. If it wasn't for crossbows being able to be used in all of archery, Signal 11 lures would definitely not exist. I can tell you that right now, because I was an avid gun hunter. I was an upland game guy. That was more of my thing. The bow hunting thing was not really. I wasn't good at it, so I didn't go out and bow hunt really. I really got into the bow hunting because when the crossbows became legal, I said, I'll try it. I mean, I was never efficient or effective with anything else until I got that crossbow and I was really enjoying the woods. So for me, every season it's got an arrow, it's got a blade on the end. You make a deer hemorrhage. You got to get close with them. I don't care if people say crossbows shoot 100 yards. That's a bunch of bullshit. They might shoot 100 yards in an open field at a target, but the wound rates are almost identical to the compound bow. So they're obviously not that much different. Can they shoot 100 yards at a target? Yeah, but who cares? My crossbows, I'm trying to shoot deer at 15, 20 yards is an effective range. Truly, a crossbow is effective at, I don't care what you have. I own a Raven. It's 400 feet a second. I have like 6X calibers. I don't care how fast it is. If you're shooting over 40 yards, you're either in an open field where there's no twigs or branches out or something. And I still think it's foolish because I could say that because I don't practice out past 40 yards. I'm shooting at 40 yards. If they're over 40, I say goodbye to them and I hunt them another day. That's just me. But Joe, the thing with the seasons, I think it would get a lot of pushback because I know so many older people.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't.
There's so many. I have older friends that I hunt with all the time that hung up their compound bow at 68 years old, and now they're 70, 75, whatever. Doesn't matter what age you are, but they couldn't do it anymore. They couldn't do it. You couldn't have a winter coat on. They didn't practice enough. You got to shoot that thing, multiple times a week. They hung it all up and they said goodbye to hunting. Now they have a crossbow. They go out. They spend the money on some of those guys. The license is a whole different price because they're over, they're seniors, but they're out there, they're buying equipment, they're supporting the local businesses, and they're enjoying the heritage that they've done forever. The guy who shoots the compound efficiently, that's 25, 45, 55, and he's great at and hates crossbows, the day he gets shoulder surgery in September, he doesn't hunt for a year because he's not going to pull his compound back. Where a lot of guys, buy a crossbow because they don't want to miss a season. Maybe they're not real proud of it, but guess what? They still buy it. They go out or they could borrow one of my 6, but all of mine are illegal now. I got to find one that's going to be legal if they pass this. It's going to hurt a lot of people, and it's the beginning of more to come. Right now it's crossbows. Then it's going to be the compounds. Then it's going to be the hunters. Next thing the trail cams will go, the baiting will go. We got to make sure the Game Council is part of the hunting family. They have to do the right thing for the hunters and the conservation. It can't be about a revenue stream, and it can't be about the antis. They're antis. Of course they don't like hunting. You know what I'm saying? I don't play badminton. I'm not anti-badminton. It's just not for me. But the antis are against everybody that does it. So I would like to see it stay the same. I think for now, everybody vote no. I don't care if you shoot crossbows or not. Let's make the Game Council do a better job at a proposal for next year.
Well, Steve, I want to thank you for having this talk with me. I think it's pretty important. Hopefully we're able to push this message out. And if you're listening, exactly what Steve said, get out there and voice your opinion so it's heard. Also, if you want to hear tons of more hunting podcasts, Steve is the host of the Signal 11 Outdoors podcast. You could head over there and subscribe on YouTube and follow him on Instagram and Facebook. But Steve, awesome to have you here again, and thank you for the information of what's actually going on, and hopefully we get this out there.
Thanks, Joe. Listen, this is everything I said was my opinion, not Joe's. What Joe said is his, and it's not multi-species opinion. It was me. It's my opinion. I might have been wrong on some stuff. If I was, please let me know. But basically, the general statement is. Wrong. Yeah, you're always wrong. Well, they say that, but I'm just saying, do your own research. Don't listen to me. Do your own research. Vote according to what you feel, but definitely put your comment in before the comment period's over. It's coming up quick.
100%. Make some noise.
Yes, we have.
All right, Steve. Hopefully,
got to stick together, man. We got to stick together.
Always. Hopefully,
thank you, Joe.
I will see you very soon. We will be out fishing.
Yes, we're going to go out and got to get out and fluke fish. But remember, the regs are different in New York and New Jersey, so you got to look for the line in the water.
Yep, got to watch the line.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Take care.